Thank you all for coming. We are about to begin our North Fair Oaks Community Council meeting for today, Thursday, September 28, 2017. Item number 1, roll call.
Sure, I'll start the roll call.
Okay.
Vice Chair. Chair Everardo Rodriguez, not here. Vice Chair Beatriz Cerrillo.
Here.
Councilmember Melinda Dubroff. Councilmember Rosario Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilmember Linda Lopez.
Here.
Councilmember Rosada Lopez.
Here.
Councilmember Mary Martinez.
Present.
And Youth Member Yesenia Mendez.
Here.
Thank you. We will go on to the second item, public comment. Anyone may speak up to 2 minutes on any topic not on the agenda. And this one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have two, let's see. First one, Delmi Casali, please step up to the podium, right over there. The microphone, yes.
Hi, my name is Delmi. I live at North Fair Oaks for 4 years, and I have some concerns that I have brought to many members in the community and the sheriff's office also. There's a lot of illegal activities in 2 houses that we know. And this has been going on for, I was here in the last 4 years. There's, and I noticed because they park in front of my home. And I see activities going on, giving money, little bags of, I believe they're drugs. And it's getting worse. There's a lot of kids from Sequoia High School in particular that they come after school. I've seen a lot of kids 10, 11 years old that go to that home and bringing something I heard from another kids that they go and sell to their schools. So it's getting really, really bad. They double park a lot of the times. They usually walking or bike riding. But every time I call the sheriff's office, they always hide. So when they go by, it's like nothing happened. So I don't know how they know, but something is going on there. And you know, I'm getting really tired and frustrated because I have my grandson and he's 9 years old.
Thank you very much. Time
Thank
is
you.
up. Thank you. Next, we have Jennifer Wong. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Jennifer. I'm from Palo Alto Housing. We are a nonprofit affordable housing developer, and we are going to be proposing a 67-unit affordable housing development right here in North Fair Oaks. And so we're going to be holding an information session open to everyone in the community as well as all of the council members. And so I just wanted to invite everyone to this information session that's taking place next week. It's on Thursday, October 5th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the Sienna Youth Center. So I just wanted to invite everyone, and I hope we can see you guys there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, on the last speaker, I would just, I think we have the right people in the room to address that, and I would just ask that Delmi get with Captain Rolfus and give him the information.
Okay, thank you.
I was through the chair. If they have information tonight, can they include it in their report? And if not, then refer it,
Right.
Okay.
Lieutenant Corporal speaks.
since they're on the agenda.
Okay.
Thank you. Item number 3, Sheriff's Report.
Good evening, council members, Assistant County Manager Callaghy, and community members. My name is Lieutenant Christina Corpus, and I am the commander of the North Fair Oaks community. I'm here tonight to discuss the work we've been doing within the community. Tonight, I'll present crime, parking, and moving violation statistics. After the slideshow presentation, I will show you a video that highlights the work that we've been doing in the North Fair Oaks community. So I know it's a little hard for you to see this, so I'll explain the statistics. So in reviewing the crime activities for the second quarter of 2017 in North Fair Oaks and comparing them to last quarter, there was a decrease in rape this quarter. This quarter was 3, last quarter was 5. And I want to let you know that the rapes, they're considered a rape, but the victim knew the suspect. So it's not someone that's going around and that we have to be afraid of. Robberies remain the same, 4 at this quarter and 4 from last quarter. Assaults were up this quarter, 39 total, in comparison to last quarter of 26. Thefts are down. This quarter we had 13, and last quarter was 14. We had a significant reduction in burglaries. This quarter we had 6, and last quarter there were 16 total. We had an increase in auto burglaries. This quarter we had 5, and last quarter there were 3. We are pleased with the declines in burglaries, especially when our neighboring communities continue to see increases, specifically in violent crimes. We continue to actively patrol the North Fair Oaks area. Sorry, let me move this one here so you can see. We continue to actively patrol the North Fair Oaks area. We have increased our foot patrol. The deputies enjoy speaking to the business owners and meeting the community members. Our arrests have increased this quarter, 260, from last quarter of 182. I'm happy to report that we have a minimum of 1 deputy that is Spanish speaking on each patrol team. Our deputies are very involved in the community. We work like we live here. There's been an increase in traffic citations this quarter, 228, and last quarter there were 218. There was an increase in parking citations. This quarter we had 804, and last quarter there were 606. Our community service officers continue to provide warnings, and the community is doing their part and following the parking regulations. We also created a calendar in English and Spanish that we'll pass out in regards to street sweeping to remind the community members and avoid being ticketed. Cases. We had a question in regards to cases. I just wanted to show you here, before I move on, the comparisons from last year during this time, this quarter, and this year. So if you can see, there's been a significant decline in crime overall. So we're doing a better job at that. Okay, and then last time I presented, the council had questions in regards to juvenile crime statistics. So we had 13 arrests, and this is from the beginning from January of 2017 to present. So we had 13 arrests, and there were, if you can see where they say they were cited, they were given a ticket to appear at juvenile court. They were booked into Hillcrest Juvenile Center. And then the other means that they were released to either a parent or a guardian. So we do have some crimes that were speed contests, means that they were out doing donuts in the middle of the street. We have some that the kids were found to have alcohol in their possession. We have some that had marijuana in their possession. And we had some that were wards of the court that had left where they were housed. So cases involving juveniles arrested from January 2017 to present were 13. Of those 13 arrests, 4 were cited, 4 were booked into Hillcrest Juvenile Facility, and 5 were released to their parents or guardians. These cases involved speed contests, crystal methamphetamine, possession of stolen property, alcohol, assault, and possession of marijuana. So a few cases that I'd like to talk about from this past quarter, actually, and then maybe Delmy, this is going to be in your neighborhood. But our narcotics task force received information that a resident of North Fair Oaks was selling firearms. After further investigation, the agent discovered the individual was also in violation of a domestic violence court order from possessing firearms or ammunition. A search warrant was served at the residence. Agents searched the residence and recovered an AR-15 rifle, ammunition, and high-capacity magazines. The individual was booked into the McGuire Correctional Facility on various felony charges. Deputies were dispatched to Plaza Jeweler on the report of a male and a female suspect that stole a bracelet from the business. Deputies reviewed the surveillance footage and immediately recognized the male suspect. Deputies responded to the male suspect's residence. Both suspects were located and arrested for burglary and conspiracy, and they were both booked into the McGuire Correctional Facility. The Care On program is hosting, and then I'd like to talk about some of the things that we're going to be doing in the community. The Care On program is hosting the North Fair Oaks Community Academy, which started on September 26th. It runs from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., and it's at Verbo, Christian Family Services, located at 2798 Bay Road. So if anyone's interested, we have information on that. On October 22nd, we will host Coffee with Donuts with the community at St. Anthony's Church from 9 a.m. to 12:30. We continue to read to the children of the community at the North Fair Oaks Library every Tuesday. We're co-hosting a children's Halloween party with the library on Wednesday, October 25th, between 4 and 6 p.m. We'll have a costume contest, prizes, scary stories, and lots of treats. Please stop by and say hello. On November 15th, we will be hosting an immigration forum at the Siena Youth Center for our youth. The forum will start at 6:30 and run until 8 p.m. On December 2nd, 2017, from between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m., the Sheriff's Office and the Siena Youth Center will be hosting a community basketball game. We invite everyone to come. Every Friday, our patrol deputies are assisting with feeding the community at St. Anthony's Dining Hall. We love spending time with the volunteers and the community members. Deputies stop by the schools at lunchtime and have lunch with the students of Fair Oaks Elementary and Garfield. This gives us an opportunity to meet the students and spend time with them. We have hosted parenting classes, coffee with the community, domestic violence workshops, community basketball games, gang workshops, and immigration forum. And shortly, I'd like to present a video that captures kind of and highlights what we've been doing in the community. But I just wanted to go back to Ms. Kazali's about her information. So I've been working with Ms. Kazali on the issues that are happening on her street. And I've been working with the school resource officer from Redwood City, because you had stated to me that there's kids from Sequoia coming. And we also have our SRO from Woodside here and working with him as well. I've also am in contact and talked about the issues with our narcotics task force. So the investigations do take time, because we do have to work these cases, and sometimes they are lengthy, but I just want to reassure you that your voice is being heard and that we are addressing the issue. Okay. Does anybody have any questions before I show the video? No?
Through the chair, do you have any follow-up, Lieutenant, on that situation on Douglas?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually emailed.
Is that in anything here?
Just because it happened, we've been working on it, and actually, we did arrest that individual the other night, and I did respond and send an email to the resident that was concerned, that brought those concerns forward.
Okay. Thank you very much. Just very briefly for council, there was a situation that was brought up about drinking outside, actually in front of a person living on Douglas near Middlefield. And it was becoming a safety issue and a harassment issue. There's children there. And so thank you for doing the follow-up on that. I had extended my call for help to Lieutenant, and you followed up on that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then actually, I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the work that we've been doing with the immigrant community in North Fair Oaks. And if Deputy Lopez can go around and pass out some cards. So the sheriff had these cards made, and basically the cards are for our non-Spanish speaking deputies to hand out to maybe if they are having a conversation with somebody or they pull somebody over and maybe they're only Spanish speaking. It kind of gives them a little bit of reassurance of what our mission is and what we're there to do. So he's passing them out, and then if anybody in the community would like, we can pass them out as well. And then I wanted actually to acknowledge and introduce Captain Gregory Rothis. He's here. And then the deputies that actually work in North Fair Oaks, they're here to answer any questions or just to show that these introduce themselves because, you know, they do work hard and they do care about the community. Okay.
Having a conversation with one of the newest lieutenants in North Fair Oaks. She made it very clear from the beginning that one of her top priorities is being more inclusive towards the Latino community and making that relationship stronger. I think a lot of times people are really hesitant to talk about race, and it was refreshing to me to hear her say that that was one of her priorities, hiring more bilingual officers or doing more events in the community. Some of the most impactful things that the Care On program has done is really the small things. So hosting coffee with the cops at the church, or having a community basketball game, or reading to students at the library. I think those gestures are so simple that, you know, it feels very intimate, it feels very casual, that those are the types of things that get people through the door.
Who likes to talk to our police officer friends? Very good. Who likes to tell them secrets?
The sheriff's office hosting an immigration forum, and that to me really shows that, you know, they are really connected to what the community's concerns are, and that they're willing to specifically tailor events that will serve the needs of the community. It's really nice to see people knowing an officer by their name, you know, and I think that says a lot about the effectiveness of the Care On program. If someone in the community can go up to a police officer and address them by their name, I think that says a lot in terms of building that long-term relationship. I think it sends a big message when law enforcement officers are willing to be the ones to go to the community rather than the other way around.
Coming here and working with the Care On program, especially us that we work so closely, I realized that it is building community and getting to know the sheriffs more beyond the uniform and the appearance. I know parents from the community that go and say hi to, Victor Lopez, or go and say hi to Lieutenant Cristina Corpez, and it's not like a fearful high or like they're trying to hide or anything like that. Or even in the coffee with a deputy, was it? It's very relaxed and very effortless. I don't feel like they're just doing their job. I feel like they care for the community. Because I think a lot of people, that's where they build their opinion, because it's like, oh, well, they're just doing their job. I think it goes beyond just doing your job. Having, people from the community be in law enforcement, that helps a lot. Having people that understand the culture of their community is really important. Although it's very comforting to have someone that looks like you, it's even better when someone understands your culture, whether you come from any background.
Sinceramente, de cuando veo a los policías, pues sí, ahora hay que cruzar palabras con los policías así como persona a persona, porque uno lo mira en la calle, pues ni lo voltea uno ni a ver, sinceramente, si uno continúa serio en el volante cuando uno va manejando. Y ahora pues aquí me ha tocado hablar con ellos vienen uniformados, andan igual como andan en la calle trabajando, y en sí, uno no sé por qué a veces los mira a ellos de otra manera, que sinceramente andan haciendo su trabajo nada más.
Bueno, yo tengo otro modo de pensar, de que ellos no son nuestros enemigos. Ellos, al contrario, nos traen la ayuda, nos traen la confianza a nuestra comunidad. Sé que ahora yo un problema o algún caso que yo tenga, yo sé que puedo preguntarles, pararlos en la calle igual, para poder recibir la mejor información que ellos me lo puedan dar. De verdad agradezco que ellos se involucren en esto, y ahora la información que ellos dan cuando ellos están presentes a nosotros, eso es una forma de confianza.
In this area, I think the vandalism has gone down. The amount of stuff we find on campus is going down. Just because anytime we call with a concern or a problem, the sheriff's office is always here to respond and does it in a very professional way. Just having like Victor out here on a regular basis, and as well as the other deputies, I think it's helping our community trust and trust law enforcement and just see them in a different light. A perfect example was last year with the whole immigration issue. There were a lot of families that were scared of what was going on and had a lot of questions, and they were coming to us. And some of those questions we couldn't answer just because we're not on the law enforcement side, and just that was a perfect example of how important and how huge CARE-ON is. We had a meeting specifically with our parents about immigration, and it really helped them, understand kind of where they're coming from, but also calm their nerves or their concerns about whether they're going to get deported coming to school or not. And so that was a huge thing for us. We've had Deputy Cousins and Deputy Maldonado have actually come out and had done lunch with our K through 2nd as well as Fair Oaks students. I saw K-9 deputy patrolling the streets and immediately turned around, and I thought he was going to go, traffic stop or respond to a call, and he actually jumped out of his car and started giving out stickers to the kids just across the street from our office. It's building just amazing relationships with our parents and our students. Sometimes people have a negative perception on what police do, so I've seen it firsthand here at the school, and like I said, it's great to see that the sheriff is really about community service.
Thank you very much for the presentation. It was very well done. Thank you.
I'm sorry, through the chair.
Yes.
I actually have another question. Thank you for a very comprehensive report. We don't see you every month anymore, so thank you to get all that information. This is kind of on the side. It's a different issue.
Okay.
What role does the sheriff department play as far as what happens during a natural disaster? I know there was a fire recently on 4th, was it?
Yes.
4th Avenue? Mm-hmm. And with all that's going on with earthquakes and everyone's saying, or scientists are saying, it's going to happen, we just don't know when.
Yeah.
But for sure it's going to happen. Can you give us some clarification
Sure.
on how the sheriff
Yeah.
plays into that?
So we have Office of Emergency Services as is the sheriff's office as well, and we do something that's called SMC Alert. So if any community member would like to know more about that, we can provide that information because it does alert you. It'll send a text or call you, and basically it'll tell you where something is happening. So we did one the other night for the fire on 4th Avenue. And so fire took the primary role on that, and our deputies were there to make sure that everybody was safe, that no one was inside of the building, traffic control. And actually, we've been in contact with the family, and we've actually put together kind of a package for them because they did have children, so toys, food, and clothing for them to try and help them. And they're staying with relatives at this point. But we have when it's hot, we do cooling centers, and we put out SMC alerts about making sure that people know that the weather's going to be hot and to stay hydrated, and put information out about the cooling centers because we do know that, especially with our seniors, that's an issue. But for natural disasters, we have trainings, and actually they're just working, our Office of Emergency Services is actually going to be putting out a video, and it's going to be both in English and Spanish, and they have puppets because we want to educate the children as well. And then basically the puppets talk about safety and about natural disasters and what to do and have a plan with your family. So they're working on that, and it should be, I think it should be live in about 2 weeks, is my understanding. So, I'll make sure that that the North Fair Oaks community is aware of it, and work with the schools on maybe doing presentations at the schools as well, and working with OES on maybe having a safety day here in North Fair Oaks.
Very good.
Because it's really important to have everyone informed.
Yeah.
And if I may, through the chair, follow up a little bit on that. It really is. The Sheriff's Office does a wonderful job through the Office of Emergency Services, but it's really a collaboration throughout the whole county with all our departments. For example, on a fire or a flood or anything like that where people are displaced, our Human Services Agency gets involved, involves the Red Cross. They work together to rehouse people or get them with friends or family. Additionally, all the departments have worked on a continuation of operation plan in the event of a major disaster. We continue to refine that and work together on it, planning tabletop exercises to address like that. And as you, I believe, all know, all our county employees are emergency service workers. In the event of a major disaster, they all become, they could be taken out of whatever role they're in and put in another role to assist the community. But it's a good reminder that, those type of disasters that we've seen in Houston and Florida and Puerto Rico now, they're out there and they do happen. And to some extent, people have to prepare for that and at least make sure they have food and water on hand to survive until emergency service workers can reach them and assist them. And on a major, overwhelming event like we've seen in these natural disasters, it can take time to mobilize and do that. So I think it's a great that you brought up that subject matter, Councilmember Lopez, and it's something that we all should be cognizant of. But I want you to know, and rest assured, and everyone else to know that we are planning for these things. We are working together on this, and we do have operational plans in place to address any type of disaster that occurs.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, I have a question.
Yes, council member. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is too high. Yeah, I have a question for Christine about the 1 hour parking. What step do you need to take to give a citation to someone?
So our community service officers do go out and they do chalk the tires, and then so basically they time it and they take a photo of the license plate and when they're chalking the tires, so they have the accuracy of knowing when the parking has now expired on the time. And so they'll either cite it, or if they know who the car belongs to, then they'll go and advise either the resident, or if it's a business owner, that the time is coming up.
Okay. If someone is parked, less than an hour, do they need to give a warning to that person, or?
Only if the time is coming up, they'll go and they'll give them a warning and ask them to move. Hey, your time's coming up. For the whatever the time frame is that's allowed in that specific area. If they can find the person, we try to give warnings to everyone to be fair.
Is a verbal warning, or you?
Cookie, do you want to come?
Make a fire warning?
Yeah, we have one of our community service officers here who
Okay.
works this area, so he can give you some information on that.
Good evening. So it's actually, if the person comes out, we'll give them a verbal warning. If not, our tickets, which look like actual tickets, we'll print it out, but it's actually a warning, and it says, "Warning, do not pay." And it says a zero balance. So what I do, I circle the zero balance and the part where it says this is only a warning.
Okay. Yeah. It's kind of.
I'm sorry, is that because, you'll do that only because the time has not expired?
So no, that's only after it's been expired. So
Really?
I'll give a leeway. So if it's an hour parking or 2 hour parking, I'll always come back 10, 15 minutes later, just so people know, hey, I'm not going to get you right on the dot. Okay. So people know that, hey, if I get you, unfortunately, something's going to be a ticket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
I have something to say. Just a few things. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the video presentation. It's just really nice to visually see, even though I'm there at some of the events and I see the great work that you guys are doing, and it's just really nice to have that refresher and see what else you guys are doing in the community. So that's just great to see, and just thank you to our deputies, and thank you to Victor for always coming to Fair Oaks once a month and building that relationship that's so truly needed in this community with the Sheriff's Department. And third thing is, for the 13 juvenile arrests, do you guys have some type of programs for parents that's specific to maybe what's going on, the type of issues that they're getting into? Because it's not just on the kid, and it's not just on us, it's on the parents as well.
Yeah, through our Care On program, we do have dialogues that address drug issues, drinking, minors drinking, and really trying to give the parents, through our parenting classes, giving them the tools and resources that will help them really kind of work with their kids and knowing the signs, the early stages, so they can be addressed early on.
Do you guys target the specific families, like after they've been arrested?
The our probation department works with the families, and the court system does. But if they if they're known to us, we'll talk to the parents and let them know when we're at a call about the programs that we have, so then they can have that as a resource as well.
Okay. Is it ever made mandatory?
Not through us. That would be through the court system.
Okay.
Yeah, but. We always encourage parents to come to our classes, and that's why we have childcare at our classes as well. So, they can sit there and listen while we're providing the information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Next, any public comment? Okay, we will go on to the next agenda item.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Parking restrictions at the parking lot located at 3060-3080 Middlefield Road. Presentation by Joe Lococo.
Good evening, I'm Joe Lococo with the Department of Public Works. And before I roll into this presentation, I think Christina and Mike spoke well about emergency preparedness. But I had one thing that I thought was worth mentioning as well, is that within the last couple of years, San Mateo County and all of the cities in the county entered into a mutual aid agreement. And so basically, we have resource lists of all the cities within the county. They have resource lists. They know the equipment that we have. And if we don't have the resources, we also have the ability to reach out to some of the neighboring communities that do have those resources. So we're trying to just to be able to reach out a little further to deal with an issue that comes up in a local area. So from there, we'll just talk about the parking restrictions that we are proposing. So we have a parking lot, 2 parking lots that are actually, one is under construction and the other is a little ways out, but we believe it'll likely be under construction in the beginning of the next calendar year. Middlefield and Second is the lot that I want to focus on today. That's a lot that the county purchased. And what we're doing is we took down the buildings. We're looking to reconstruct that, create additional off-street parking, and that'll offset ultimately some of the parking losses that would occur when Middlefield Road is reconstructed to accommodate bicycle lanes, wider sidewalks. So currently on Middlefield Road, there's diagonal parking. It provides a little bit more parking opportunity as a whole on the street. So when we go to the long-term plan, the improved plan of on-street parallel parking, what we'll end up is with a net loss of roughly 55 spaces. So that was one of the things when we had talked about the improvements is how do we offset that? And we're going to be able to offset that between both the lot that we're building right now and a lot with SFPUC that we're essentially still working with SFPUC to kind of finalize a settlement, but we've already started the design on that one. The one at Second and Middlefield is in construction, and we anticipate the construction to be completed in November. At that point in time, the lot will be opened up, and these are the parking restrictions that we're planning on bringing to the board on October 17th and wanted to just share with you. Is the plan right now is to restrict overnight parking. So parking will be from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. only. Within the lot, we are going to limit the parking to 2 hours. And the purpose there is that we would like this lot to primarily service the patrons of the local businesses. So we're not really hoping to have employees who are going to be somewhere for 8 hours utilize these lots. We want to make sure that these lots are convenient enough to folks who are looking to do business in North Fair Oaks. There are going to be requirements as far as disabled parking spaces. So in this lot here at Middlefield and Second, there will be 1 or 2 disabled parking spaces. The other lot that is going to come on board later, probably a few months from now, is what we currently anticipate. We'll have 1 disabled space there. So this is what I talked about as far as the restrictions, and part of the reasons why we were looking at these specific restrictions is we're trying to make these lots amenable and available to those folks who are coming in and out of the community. We're also not looking at utilizing these lots for spillover parking from the street. So if you in your property have 3 cars, we would still like you to try some way to go ahead and locate those cars on or immediately adjacent to your lot. Also, we believe that there's an increased benefit on the overnight limitation, and what we've observed in other instances is that there tend to be some trash issues if you do allow overnight parking. So we believe it's cleaner just to go ahead and have our evening cutoff. Here's a quick little photo that shows you the lots that are being in the process of being constructed. So one of them again, and there's a lot at Berkshire in Huntington that's still a couple months out. That's a SFPUC property. To the extent that we can, we're looking to utilize that space. Again, roughly 16 spaces are what we think we can get in there as in accordance with the design that we've worked on with the SFPUC. The larger lot is right at Middlefield at Second. The entrance and exit of the lot will be, essentially, there'll be entrance off of Second Avenue, and that's going to be entrance and exit, so it'll be a looping parking lot as far as traffic circulation goes. But that lot will accommodate 43 folks. It's the lower right-hand lot on the screen. This is just a general design layout of the lot. So again, over here is Second Avenue. So you're going to be circulating through here, and you come back out the way you came in. At Berkshire and Huntington, these are the tentative plans. So these are the ones that we're still working with the SFPUC on. Again, because this is an SFPUC lot, we don't have specific parking restrictions that we're proposing at this time for this lot. We think they might be similar to the Middlefield lot, but we're going to have to work with the SFPUC on that because it is their property. So here's the timeline I spoke to briefly. Middlefield and Second, we're actually looking to come on board relatively soon. So in November is the anticipated completion date. The Berkshire lot, the smaller lot, that is a few months out, probably early in 2018. So that's really what I wanted to talk about as far as these two lots. The other thing I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on is that we have, I think, what's a pretty darn straightforward proposal that is also coming your way. We'll probably bring this to the board in November, and we can talk about this if the council wants at the next council meeting. There are two diagonal parking spaces. There's a yellow loading zone in front of El Paisano, and the owner has requested that loading zone be changed to two diagonal parking spaces. What we do is we normally contact the neighbors to see if they have any objections to it. At this point in time, I don't believe that anybody has voiced any objections, but we still have some opportunity for folks to come out and let us know if they have any concerns. But it's a relatively minor proposal. It's taking what is currently a loading zone and just making it diagonal parking as the parking is immediately adjacent to that spot. So that's a future item. If we do get comments, we will certainly share those with you. But in the meantime, with respect to the one item that we're looking to plan to present to the board in October, we welcome any questions or comments that you may have.
Any questions from council members?
Through the chair, yes.
Yes.
You mentioned the issue of trash or garbage. Will there be a trash receptacle and recycling receptacle there at the site on Second and Middlefield?
That's not currently planned, and I think that is it's a little bit of a balancing thing. I think ultimately when we do the North Fair Oaks build out, we probably will look at the bulb out locations as far as strategic trash canisters, but with respect to the parking lot itself, what we'd like to do is focus that parking lot on just parking, and then we would have the trash receptacles that are up and down the corridor that would accommodate any trash needs.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council members?
Are there going to be any trees at all, or it's just going to be completely flat?
No, there is going to be some landscaping, and I don't know if you're going to see it very well in here, but there are some areas on the edges, and all of those are going to have some landscaping. So let me walk up and right in through here, and here. So,
What, like bushes or something?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be a combination of some bushes, and there'll actually be a couple trees in there. So it's going to be vegetation of staggered heights, and there will be a little bit of color in there as well. There will also be a landscaping system, and this parking lot will have some lighting.
And I had one other question. The enforcement of the 2-hour parking, it's going to be carried out the same way that the person that spoke about that?
That's correct,
No,
and that's
I think he gave like a verbal, or no, like a warning citation or something like that.
Yeah, so I think that still needs to be worked out a little bit, but I think just with any new regulations, I think the idea is that initially we'd be looking at warning folks regarding the regulations, try to give them a little bit of time to adjust, and then after that we'd look at enforcement. The enforcement will be carried out by essentially the same team that's carrying out the enforcement on the street.
Madam Chair, if I may, just a couple other items on that. Mr. Lococo talked about the bushes and trees. We would have loved to have had more greenery in there, but we tried to maximize the amount of parking in there so that we felt that this was the best balance we could get to. The other consideration for limiting the hours between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. were the neighbors. We just didn't want people coming in the middle of the night, slamming their doors, talking in the parking lot out of consideration for the neighbors there. So,
I'm sorry, through the chair. One other thing that came up in the, I think it came up in the public art work group, that that's the location where there's going to be a community mural, and it was suggested that there be some kind of a barrier or something that's going to protect the wall from the parking area, whether it's, I don't know what you call those cement things that come up,
Bollards.
Yeah, something. So if someone doesn't know how to drive, right? I mean, I don't know, and I didn't know if there's going to be room for that, but if you hadn't heard that, it had come up at some point, and if it could be worked into the plan, that'd be great. I don't know where you're going to put it, but
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, so I haven't really been working on the design of this particular lot. That's
Okay.
been our engineering group. But I'll certainly take that back to the engineering group and make sure that they understand the concern.
okay, thank you.
I have a question. through the
Yes.
chair. You mentioned that it's not going to be overnight parking, right?
That's correct.
Have you checked or think about the? For example, we have a big issue here in North Fair Oaks about parking on the street. In the evening, for the people who has business. They have a lot of cars, commercial cars. Have you think about it to have a parking overnight for this type of people?
Well, again, I think we don't really want the parking lot to be a place to hang out. So what I would say is that on a parallel front, we have gone through a parking study within the North Fair Oaks area. And so there are some different ideas that have been floated through that study. Truly we have some limitations because of especially the area, I'll say west of Middlefield Road, that it's confined between the tracks on one side and Middlefield on the other side. So there are some real challenges, and we recognize those. And so we are going to take a closer look at some of the things that came out of the parking study and just see if there's some opportunities for us there. But we're not really seeing this lot as the panacea for the overflow of parking that occurs in the neighborhoods.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on.
It's just an idea.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Next item. Oh, public comment, sorry. Public comment? Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to our next item. The use permit to allow an accessory building to be located within the rear quarter of a parcel, where in the case of a parcel abutting upon two or more streets, the accessory buildings may not encroach upon the outer quarter of the parcel nearest either street. The project is located at 3520 Bay Road in the unincorporated North Fair Oaks area of San Mateo County. Presentation, Carmelisa Morales.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carmelissa Morales. I'm with the County Planning Department. I'm here to present a project for the consideration of construction of an accessory building within the rear quarter of a parcel abutting upon 2 streets. I'll go more into detail on why a permit is required for this. Sorry, let me go back one. The project is located at 3520 Bay Road in unincorporated North Fair Oaks, APN 055-185-040. The owner and applicant is Roman Labois. I'm not sure if I said that correctly. So for the project proposal, it is for the construction of a 464 square foot detached 1-car garage with an attached 1-car carport. And the location is to be within the rear quarter of the parcel. It's closest to Spring Street, and the front of the house faces Bay Road. The project also includes the demolition of a shed in the same location, and a fence in the public right-of-way on Spring Street, as well as the legalization of the unpermitted conversion of a 2-car garage that was converted into conditioned space. A use permit is required for this project because in the case of a parcel abutting 2 streets, you are not allowed to put a detached accessory building nearest for the quarter. Sorry, let me say this correctly. A detached accessory building on a parcel that abuts upon 2 streets may not encroach upon the quarter of the parcel nearest either street. So a fourth of the parcel that abuts Bay Street or Bay Road, and the quarter of the parcel that abuts Spring Street, and they are proposing it to be in the quarter within Bay Street. It's a little Spring Street. It's a little difficult to grasp, but I have some visuals that will help with that. And this is to comply with the 2 covered parking space requirement. The house currently has 4 bedrooms, so 2 covered parking spaces are required. As for the chronology, it's fairly simple. The application was submitted in January. It was deemed complete in July. It's being presented to you today, and hopefully it'll reach the zoning hearing officer in November. This is a vicinity map. As you can see, the project is abutting 2 streets. It's Bay Road in the front and Spring Street in the back. And right in here is where the yard. This is the front of the property. Currently, the garage door is closed shut. There was unpermitted conversion of the space into a living room. And this is what you see from Spring Street. There's just a fence and a gate, but it's not being used currently. And this is the rear yard area in which the detached accessory building will be located. That shed in the right photo is going to be removed. Here is a site plan of the property. I highlighted the garage and carport. They're going to be attached. They're going to be located along closer to Spring Street. Everything else should remain the same. The next 3 slides is the floor plan of the house. There's no change to the footprint of the house. There's just some interior changes. Some things are going to be built up to code. I don't think it was previously permitted, so the applicant and owner is going to address that. This is what it currently looks like. It's conditioned space, and these are with the improvements that the owner is going to be making. As for the second floor, there's no changes to that. And here are the existing elevations. And here are the proposed elevations. Like I said, there's no really big changes. The only major change is that they're going to convert the garage door into a door and a window. And here is the floor plan for the garage. As you can see, the garage is on the top portion, and right next to it is the carport. As for project compliance, this proposal complies with the general plan and the North Fair Oaks community plan, specifically the urban land use policies, as well as it's consistent with the NFOCP single-family residential land use designation. It's a single-family residence right now, and it's going to remain a single-family residence. The project is categorically exempt from CEQA under Section 15303. As for zoning regulations, the project site is zoned R1 S73. It is an allowed use in the R1 zoning district, which is a single-family residence. The proposal does comply with all applicable S73 development standards. And with this proposal, the project will go from 2 covered parking spaces to 2 covered parking spaces. There won't be any parking issues with that. And with the exception of the location of the proposed structure, the proposal does comply with all applicable detached accessory building regulations. I'm going to summarize some comments that I received this week regarding the project. I've been talking with the concerned neighbor, and it seems like we've addressed most of them, but I'll summarize what her concerns were. So one of her concerns was that the fence has been unmaintained, and there has been graffiti in the past. There are overgrown weeds in the public right-of-way. She requests that the owner replace it with a 6-foot tall fence, which is the same height as the fence right now, but set it back 10 feet from the sidewalk and install landscaping. She also asked that the proposed structure be set back at least 15 feet from the sidewalk. It's important to note that the property line does not align with the sidewalk. There's actually about like a 5 to 10 foot difference. I can go back to the site plan if you guys have questions on that. She mentioned that there are several fences with unpermitted fence heights in the neighborhood. She also asked that no trees be removed and that private properties that are visible from Spring Street be well maintained. And I'll go over staff response in the next slide. Oh, sorry. These are the photos that she sent to me. There are a couple more, but these pretty much summarize her concerns. The first photo on the left is from Spring Street, and then the second one is, I believe, from her window on her property. For staff's response, I tried to do it in the same order that I addressed her comments. So with the complaints regarding the graffiti and the overgrown weeds and the unpermitted fence heights, those all can be complaints filed through the county planning and building code compliance section. I've spoken to them and they said that those are concerns that they address, specifically graffiti. That's like category 2 for them. So if they were to call in today, they would immediately respond to that. The owner is also not required to install landscaping as part of this use permit. This use permit is specifically for the garage and carport and the location of that. As for the proposal, it also includes the removal of the fence, which would address the problem of the concerned neighbor. As for replacing the fence, the applicant has informed me that they do intend to replace the fence, but they're not sure when they would be doing that. And if they were to put it in the public right-of-way, let me give you some history on that. The location of the existing fence, which is in the public right-of-way, it was approved in March 2003 by the Public Works Department, so it is legal and non-conforming. And any future fence on the subject parcel, meaning on the private property, would have to comply with the county zoning regulations, which would be 6 feet in height in that area. If the owner would like to construct the fence in the same area, which is in the public right-of-way, then the location would need to be approved by Public Works. And if it were to be approved, an encroachment permit would be required. The concerned neighbor also recommended a daylight plane be required for the detached accessory building. However, that is not an applicable requirement in our county zoning regulations. That only applies to the main residence. And this project, like I said, is only for the exception of the location of the proposed garage and carport, which is 12.5 feet from the rear property line and approximately 22 feet from the sidewalk. No tree removals are proposed in this proposal, and the subject parcel is not within a zoning district that requires design review. So in conclusion, staff recommends that the North Fair Oaks Community Council provide a recommendation to the zoning hearing officer on the proposed use permit, planning file number PLN 2017-0007. I'm available if you guys have any questions. And the applicant and owner is here, or the applicant is the same as the owner, but they're here to address any questions as well.
Any questions from council members?
Yes, through the chair, I have a question. Yeah. Just to be clear, they are planning on removing the fence, but no existing plans to put up the new fence?
Yeah.
Is removing the fence part of the permit?
It is Technically, it's not a part of what is discretionary. So let's say if they were just applying for the fence, there would be no permit required unless they're requesting an exception to the height. But if it was in the public right-of-way as it is right now, it would be reviewed and approved by Public Works.
Does this permit include the definitive removal of the fence? Or is that discretionary, unrelated to the accessory building?
Well, the use permit is just for the location of the garage. If you would like to add a condition or something like that that would attach the fence to the project, we could do something like that. But as it stands, and that's codified in our zoning regulations, there is no permit requirement for the fence.
Was there only one complaint from one neighbor?
Yes, there was only one complaint.
Okay, so then I have all that here. So, of all the proposed changes by that person, where you listed all that, the only one that, okay, so what's agreeable to the owner then? He has plans to remove the fence.
Mm-hmm.
He's not responsible for landscaping.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the also, I think, something that was listed.
Yeah, I'll go back to that slide.
And I think the point about the fence was the setback, that it was suggested that it go 15 feet as opposed to where it is now. Is that correct?
Yes.
But he wants to get rid of it completely?
Yeah, the plan is to replace the fence. It is worn down and it hasn't been maintained by the previous owners, so his goal is to remove it and replace it. The concern of the neighbor was that it wasn't being maintained and that a previous owner has actually made it closer to the sidewalk. And technically, through the March 2003 authorization by Public Works, it is allowed to be in the public right-of-way. If they were to remove it, then they would have to restart that process, and Public Works would have to look at it again to determine if it would be allowed. But her main concern was that the fence wasn't being maintained. The property wasn't being kept up to her standards as well. But I have given her some resources such as
So there's not a real complaint about the location of the structure? I didn't get that from what I heard.
It was mostly about the fence.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it was mostly.
And the landscaping.
And the landscaping.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, public comment?
I actually have an additional question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it common for the county to approve fences to go all beyond a person's property line?
From my understanding, after speaking with Public Works, it is on a case-by-case basis. It depends on how the other fences on the block are, if they've approved things like that in the past. So in this case, there is a history of them approving it, so that may factor into their decision.
Okay.
But it is on a case-by-case basis. I cannot say if they're going to approve it or not.
Okay. Yes. Oh, yeah. Would you like to go to the microphone, please? Thank you.
Do you have a card?
Oh, he has to fill out a card.
Oh. Hi, everybody. So yeah, I'm the owner, and we're proposing that project. About that fence, we recognize that it's a ugly fence. It was there when we purchased the house, and yeah, we plan to do something about it. We just don't know what now, because as Carmelisa explained, it's a separate process. It's our backyard, so we're trying to keep some privacy. But yeah, we intend to make, if there's a fence, to make it way better looking and matching the garage, and we like plants too. So thank you.
So can I ask him a question?
Can she ask him a question? Yes.
Thank you for speaking up on your own behalf there. That's great. Will you be driving your car on Spring Street and then going into the new detached garage from Spring Street? Is there a gate there that you'll be going through?
Yeah,
To park your car and then just walk to your...
There is a driveway, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, and one comment, we're not making any change to parking space on Spring Street. The curb cut that we've planned is already there, actually. Yeah, so nothing changes, basically. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Public comment? Yes, thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Mitchell. I'm his neighbor. I actually face that property. My property faces directly across from there. My only question...
Can you put your mic up? Just tilt it up.
Sorry, I'm tall. Anyway, is there going to be a driveway entrance from Spring Street into the garage that you're building? Okay, so the fence will be adjusted to work, because right now it doesn't work. Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Okay, and now we can have it. Yes, yes. Oh, thank you. There we go. Thank you. James Coulter, next, please. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to comment. I'm James Coulter. We live, my wife and I live right next door at 3524, and we're in favor of the project for a couple of reasons. One is that, the scope of the project is relatively small, and sometimes aesthetic concerns are brought up. And if anything, like you mentioned, that a somewhat dilapidated temporary structure is being removed in favor of a fully permanent structure. So it should actually improve the aesthetics of the area, and if the fence is also done, that would also. And we appreciate and I kind of feel for you with the permitting process is very arduous, and I appreciate you going. We did a project similar 10 years ago on our property and jumped through all the hoops and everything necessary, and I'm really thankful that we did that now. And so it is a process worth going through, and if anything, after our project was done, we received a beautification award from North Fair Oaks. So I'm thinking that the project will be an improvement in the area, just visually. And then, of course, the traffic. I'll tell you, we live right where Bay and Spring come together, and it's fast. It's a busy street, so you got to kind of pick your poison where you back out there, because we had a car that was tomahawk there too, and so you really have to be careful on those streets, because the traffic really is fast going through there. So and both Bay and Spring are that way. So anyway, we just wanted to comment that we're in favor of the project for those reasons. Thank you.
Thank you. We need to take action, council action, to a motion. No more comments. No more comments? Okay, thank you. Is there a motion for use permit to allow an accessory building to be located within the rear quarter of the parcel?
I'll motion that the North Fair Oaks Council approve the use permit at 3520 Bay Road for an accessory building to be located within the rear quarter of the parcel.
I second that motion.
Okay. What did we say?
Everybody in favor?
Just all those.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Any opposed?
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion has passed. Okay. Item number 6, consideration of an off-street parking exemption pursuant to Section 6117 of San Mateo County zoning regulations. Presentation by Laura Richstone.
Can you all hear me? Good.
Good evening. I'm Laura Richstone, and I'm here to present an off-street parking exception for, oh, that's the wrong. Sorry for that difficulty. As I said, I'm here to present a parking exception for 499 6th Avenue. And the parking exception is to allow one covered parking space in a one-car garage and one uncovered parking space in the front yard setback, where otherwise 2 parking spaces would be required. And the owner is here tonight, and his name is Raju Sundaram. And the applicant is the architect, and he's also here if you have any questions. So here's a vicinity map, and the property is highlighted in yellow. It's located on the corner of Park and 6th Avenue in North Fair Oaks. And their proposal, the applicant is proposing a 726-foot addition to the residence, which will result in a 3rd bedroom. They're also proposing to demolish the existing legal non-conforming carport attached to the house and replace it with a single-car garage. And the creation of the 3rd bedroom is actually what is triggering the off-street parking exception. When you create a new bedroom, you have to meet the parking regulations as they are now. So per our parking regulations, a residence with 2 or more bedrooms needs to have 2 covered parking spaces, and right now they have only 1 covered and a 1-car carport. As such, the applicant is asking for the exception to allow, once again, 1 uncovered parking space in the front yard, right in front of the porch, and 1 covered parking space in a 1-car garage. Yes. Here's a picture of the front of the house. You can see on the right, behind the second gate, is the legal 1-car carport. And here's a photo of the right side of the house. You can see the front yard. The uncovered parking space will be kind of in front of the porch. And here's a side and the backyard of the house. The house will extend a little bit for the addition. Here are some elevations, proposed and existing. Existing is on the left and proposed is on the right. This just gives you an idea of that they're kind of bumping out the back of the house to create the 3rd bedroom, and they're creating a garage. And then for more clarity, the shaded region on the right is the proposed floor plan, and that's the addition of in the back and side, and also the 1-car garage in the front to the side. Once again, you can see the construction of a new garage and the location of the proposed uncovered parking space in the front yard. Though the parcel doesn't preclude the construction of a second parking space, such a proposal would have its own issues. They could technically apply for a use permit to do a 2-car garage, but that would bump the 2-car garage would have to encroach into the setback, and it would only have a 3-foot or a 2-foot setback from the property line, so it'd be very close to the fence. Alternatively, they could do a parking spot in the backyard, but that would require an additional curb cut, which would reduce on-street parking because you can't park in a driveway. And it would also most likely require the removal of 1 or 2 of the mature oak trees on the side of the property. So planning believes that by providing a second uncovered parking space located in the off the driveway, the current proposal avoids the reduction of on-street parking and does not impact the trees. In conclusion, I ask that the council provide comments to planning staff on whether you conclude that the off-street parking findings can be made. And I'm here for any questions, and so is the owner and architect.
Questions from council members?
Through the chair, I have a question. Does the uncovered parking spot that's proposed need to have any kind of particular surface? Is it going to be blacktop, or could it just be dirt?
It has to be, it can't be dirt. So it's going to be either asphalt or pavers, something per DPW regulations on driveways and and such.
Through the chair, no removal of trees.
No removal.
But what's the thing about the two 15-gallon trees?
Can you? Yes. So previously, permits travel with the property, not with the owner. So previously in 2002 and 2016, there were 2 tree removal permits and that were issued and approved. And part of the approval or the conditions of approval is to replant. They never replanted, so part of this permit will be to actually require those replantings before planning will give a final for the building permit.
So the statement about no tree removal is about the heritage trees that are there?
Yeah, so yes,
okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? Public comment?
I believe the owner would like to say some words.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Raju. We had moved into Fair Oaks community a year and a half ago. I lived in New York for 45 years, and I'm so happy to be here. In addition to what Laura very clearly explained to you, I have nothing much to add except to state that I did get a permit to remove a tree, but somehow I chickened out. I felt the tree had lived longer than I have. I have no right to remove an old oak tree, which is probably 100 years of age. So I didn't utilize the permit, and I'm very happy I didn't cut the tree. That's the only thing I wanted to add, nothing else. No trees will be cut. We have no intentions to cut the trees.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I do. I have a question.
Yes.
Thank you. We love our trees.
Yes.
Love our trees. Laura, were there any
There were no
complaints,
comments.
any
No.
response from anybody?
No, public notice was sent out 10 calendar days before this meeting, both in Spanish and English, and I received no phone calls or emails to date.
So, we are required to take action. Is there a motion for consideration of an off-street parking exception pursuant to Section 111 of San Mateo County zoning regulations, allowing one covered parking space where 2 are required, and to allow 1 uncovered parking space located in the front yard setback at 4996 6th Avenue in the unincorporated North Fair Oaks area?
Yes, I make the motion.
Does anyone second it?
I make the motion for in consideration of the street parking. No. Of the yes, to allow 1 uncovered parking space located on the front yard setback located at 499 6th Avenue in the unincorporated North Fair Oaks area of San Mateo.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Nay? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
On to the reports of the council. Supervisors report?
Yes. Chair, unfortunately, there's no supervisor's report tonight.
Okay, thank you. Number 8, county managers report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a few items to note. We had a very, I think, successful and productive meeting with our art group, who really came up with some good suggestions about combining art and landscape for the Fifth Avenue project, the median there and the adjoining area surrounding the bridge. So we are looking into that. We're in the process now of trying to arrange a meeting with our landscape architect so we can really try to pull that all together. And I think there's some really creative and novel ideas that can be implemented there. I also wanted to reiterate that November 1st will be our study session with the council and the neighborhood response team. Unfortunately, because of some out-of-town vacations of some of the members of the team, we weren't able to do it in October as we planned. So November 1st was the first available date.
Okay.
And I think it's been vetted through the council, so I think we're good there. So I just wanted to make sure that the public knew about it and they're invited to it. I think it'll be a great format to get feedback from the council on what you'd like us to do over the next year. There'll be a report out on what's transpired over the past year and some of the strategies that we're implementing. Also, we'll also show you a video of how the camera system is working in North Fair Oaks. We did capture someone illegally dumping. We were able to get that plate and contact them, and they came out and picked it up, and they're going to be cited for that. So that was one of the first joint efforts that we had to capture that and make sure that the responsible party took care of cleaning it up, and then they're going to have to pay on the citation side of things. So we hope to have more of that, but we hope to have really the word spread that there's no more illegal dumping in North Fair Oaks, that we are going to be prosecuting people for doing that, and it's just not worth it. There's so many ways to legitimately dispose of things that are unwanted through the bulk item pickups or by taking it to your recycling centers. So we're hoping that people will utilize those means. That is all I have to report right now, but we hope that all of you will be present on November 1st for a very interactive and informative study session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Council member reports.
I attended the Palo Alto Housing Community meeting that was held at Siena Youth Center, and there was a good-sized turnout. Palo Alto Housing is a nonprofit organization that develops housing for low income. So they got some good feedback about building I think it's a 57-unit apartment building on El Camino between Dumbarton and Berkshire. Yeah, Berkshire, where the old Chevys used to be. North of Planned Parenthood. And it will be primarily, of the 57 units, 30 units are going to be available for veterans and low income, which low income in their world is about 60 up to 60% of the median income. So we're talking low income, and they will be primarily studios and a couple of one-bedrooms. So it's a good project. It's a good project. And also, I do mentoring at Siena Youth Center with the 7th and 8th graders and high school kids. And they are sponsoring a legal night. I believe it's November 6th. I'm sorry, I forgot to bring my flyer. But it's going to be like 3 hours of being able to sit with a lawyer to discuss anything you need to discuss. So free legal service. It's going to be like a 3-hour session at Siena Youth Center, and I believe November 6th. I can make sure that they send out some communications
That would
so
be
people
nice.
know about it.
Yeah, really.
And the only other thing I wanted to, so things are moving in that direction. I had just it's a request. City of Atherton, can we do some follow-up with them regarding the light at Selby and El Camino? Please. There's so much foot traffic going on across there. I'm just waiting for someone to get hit. Anyway, just something that's been on my mind. Thank you very much.
Any other reports for council members?
I don't have a report, but I just wanted to wish Beatrice a happy birthday. It's Beatrice's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
I had a couple of questions. Linda, I think there's another one of those presentations by that housing group. Do you know it's later in the month, or do you,
I think it's in November too.
It's in November. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Bring my dates.
Okay.
If I may, I believe that for the Palo Alto housing,
Alto housing?
it's going to be next Thursday, October 5th,
Oh, okay.
and I believe it's going to be at the Siena Youth Center again at the same
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
Oh, the Palo Alto
October
housing?
5th. Okay.
Okay.
And I had a question. I brought up the issue of the U-turns that are occurring on Middlefield and Ninth. And I wondered if anyone had gone out to have a chance to see if we could put up a no U-turn sign there.
I don't think we have yet.
Okay.
But we will look into that.
Okay.
Southbound or northbound?
Southbound.
So right in front of the church?
Yeah.
Be right there?
Yeah, because they end up not being able to turn left onto 8th. So they
Can we get that?
make the U-turn there.
Okay.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other reports, comments? So how do I?
Just motion to adjourn.
Oh, motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Is a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. And meeting over. Meeting adjourned.
Great.